Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at another Wargame Red Dragon replay, and this time I'm playing as the French against a friend of mine who is also a big fan of using the French. I think more so than me anyway, and has quite a lot of experience doing that. And so, well, my goal is to push him out of the map completely at game start, which is a little bit ambitious. I'm relying on previous experience playing against this particular player to think that I might have a chance of doing this. I'm trying to go directly for Gulf and India, and then push through India to Hotel. And it's very ambitious, may not work out too well, and our forward group, which is a bunch of Gazelle Celtics, makes contact, and my Command Infantry Panther got too far ahead and gets taken out by his Celtic right before I'm able to kill it. So that was a big mistake on my part, because I could have dropped that Command Infantry in Charlie, or where I was actually headed for was I wanted to drop the Command Infantry sort of here-ish and then march it into the woods, because the reinforcements section is from this area here. So had I been able to get around there, it would have been alright. So we have an AMX-10 RC that spotted anti-air just for a second. We see a bit of a column moving up, but it seems in that area, losing Tiger Had, big mistake there as well. And there is a Tiger Hap, I think, that is hunting us happily, yep. But this armored column is taken kind of unawares by a bunch of AMX-10 RCs and an AMX-10 RCSB, Leclerc, and an AMX-32. So we do pretty well there. We do lose the VBL Mistral, which will come back to bite us a little bit. And this kind of highlights my own lack of experience, I would say, with the French forces, because that VBL Mistral was very, very valuable to a forward push like this. Irreplaceable, really. And both as a scout and as an anti-air piece. And I, well, didn't realize he'd be moving faster than the AMX-10 RCs, which are very quick on their own, of course. Now, the nice thing for me is that my opponent is kind of worried about this push into India, and so he's not pressuring through into Charlie, which would actually, I think, go pretty well for him if he had pushed up right there. We do get a spot on the enemy CV, and I try to go for it, but seeing those VABs, there's probably infantry in those areas. In fact, we do see him and start to shoot. Tiger Hap was brought over to act as some defense, but not able to take out an airplane, and meanwhile, my Gazelle Celtics are back and refueling. Now, Entendants are headed over to try to take out some of these, and I think we do get a couple of his units. There's still infantry in those VABs, which is very valuable, and an Au Noir, which is the cheaper anti-air piece, was taken out there as well. Some of this I know because I have glanced at the replay a little bit and talked about it with my buddy. I do lose a plane, and now, because I've lost that VBL Mistral, I have no answer to the Tiger Hap and the Panther. Although, I will say, the Tiger Hap is a bit of an odd choice. I would have gone for a Tiger Had here, something with anti-tank, because again the pressure is coming from tanks. We probably hope to take care of that with these two Brennises. Now, not my favorite tank, 65 points, but doesn't tend to, in my opinion at least, stand up to similar 70-65 point answers. And, well, even two of them are nowhere near enough to deal with the Leclerc, who is happily shooting downtown and taking out both. Although the Brennis does get distracted a little bit, hitting my Gazelles. And we have a bit of a problem down in Foxtrot, because my opponent very, very cleverly, well, I guess impatiently, has moved some troops down into Foxtrot. I did get lucky enough to spot a couple of them, so I know they're there, and I'm bringing out Chasseur and AMX-13 VTTs, just, trying to out-cheat them and push them back, because if we take a look right now at the field in general, and just see what there is to be seen, I don't really have much of a presence. My forward push has been completely crushed. My attack on Gulf was repulsed. My helicopters are either refueling or have been taken out. And, well, my opponent has secured a foothold in India, Foxtrot, Gulf, and could have well pushed into Delta or Charlie as well. So I really am up a creek without a paddle at this point. And I pushed Leclerc. This is a mistake as well, but I'm hoping, it's just a Celtic. Maybe he doesn't have the points, and I might be able to rush his home command vehicle. Not to be, we do get a couple shots in the Celtic, and back here the Tiger Hap is absolutely destroying those Legion, who would otherwise have won a fight against Chasseurs very handily. Yeah, actually, so the helicopters got me the win there. Our Leclerc has been killed, I believe by a Tiger Hat was finally called out correctly, in my opinion, to deal with that. And now, zooming out a little bit and taking a look, we are a good bit into this game, and, well, 7 minutes in, and this is all I have on the board. Really kind of a bad situation. Although my opponent and I have both sort of worked through most of our resources. It's a very, very aggressive game start, and, well, we both paid the price. I am trying to put a bit of a points pressure on him, mostly because he's done so against me. There is, well, there has been a +2 ticking war score against me for quite a while. Now, finally, we have this group moving up, but the Commandos Para will give them a bit of a surprise, and I'm able to push out the VBL Mistral with Chasseurs and sort of resecure Foxtrot just a little bit. So at least that is going decently nicely for me. I do spot the VABs moving up. I assume that that AMX-10 RCSB has moved up with it. Very cheap tank, very popular, but it's meant to be used for its mobility and not its staying power, because the armor is extraordinarily thin, and the Commandos Para, I believe, are about to shoot him, take out that tank in a single shot. Yep, there it is, and there it goes. Entendeurs coming in and killing the rest of the infantry. Very cheap, very effective bombers. I do tend to send them in sort of salvos, I guess you could say. Wings, I guess that's the more technical term. Just because they're very cheap, the bombs are very small, but if one of them gets shot down, the other one might still drop his bombs. Chasseur is shooting out an M201 Milan, who is in the wrong place at the wrong time, and now I'm feeling a bit more confident here on my western side. I start reinforcing, pushing up toward Alpha, hoping to get a bit of a forward position there, bringing up scout tanks and things like that for fire support as well. And you can kind of see we're both a little bit fatigued here, just relying on that passive points for punishment to get things going again. I do see the AMX-10 RCSB moving up toward the woods, and I realize, okay, so that's what he's going to try to do. He's going to leverage this section, make the short hop here between these woods, and, well, push me, but he's doing it just with tanks, not infantry, and that's a little bit dangerous. Commandos Para engaging Legion, and fortunately for me, spotting both the Brennus and the Ol Noir. Now there is another Ol Noir, and I do have a Tiger Hat, and Tiger Hat appears this is a very dangerous operation. I only pushed because, having used similar units, I had a sneaking suspicion that these trees would block the line of sight, and in fact they do. Either that or recon means that I can't be shot at. Entendeurs coming in and dropping their bombs. One of them is stunned, and this is something you have to watch out for, because if a bomber is stunned, he'll try and turn around and make his shot, which is very, very risky. Now we do here have a downed Tiger Had, so chewing through more of my opponent's points there every chance we can get. But here come the VABs, here come the infantry. This is what probably should have been pushed in at first before I had more of a presence on that side and before those expensive helicopters and tanks without enough infantry support. If you notice, this is something that I'm sure to provide at all occasions. Chasseurs, 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 more VTTs, and the helicopters and planes operating in and around proper support. Now the Ol Noirs benefiting from one thing, which is that anti-air guns are spectacularly good at killing infantry. We do drop a couple bombs here, not huge impact. I think we do take out one of the two groups of Legion, but there's still enough to deal with my poor line infantry. Commandos Para still going to town, unloading with their tertiary on these poor Legion, who have been kind of unnoticed by my opponent. I don't think he sees that they're dying right there. I'm not entirely sure why. But here's where I get a little bit sneaky. So I have my VABs up through this way. We've killed a command vehicle that was in Charlie, and I have an AMX-10 RC. I see another command vehicle. I don't know why this one was brought in. It might have been going over toward Delta just to be a bit of a distraction. We are taking it +2, so that's kind of necessary, but the VABs are able to take it out really quickly and go up and further get nice shots on the other, well, opponent's VABs, who are reinforcing, so they're on fast move, while my VABs were on attack move, and my VABs got the shots first. Supported, of course, by the AMX-10 RC. Now we have an interesting situation where my AMX-10 RC is, oh, don't know why I scrolled over that way, is directly looking at his reinforcement path, which will become very important very soon. The AMX over there is still, well, it's not so civic in the French army, I guess, but the AA piece was still causing a little bit of trouble, but I think we do eventually handle it with the 32 and the VTTs. Now I'm getting a VBL Mistral, just another scouting piece. My opponent does very much enjoy helicopters, as we've seen so far, so having a couple Mistral missiles on hand is probably a good thing, and we do find and kill his command infantry that was countercapping Charlie very soon. AMX 10 takes out 2 groups of Legion effectively, their transports and the infantry themselves, in 4 shots, I guess. Only 3 HE is a bit of a bummer. And my opponent doesn't quite notice it yet. Yep, here comes the AMX 32, should be able to take care of the Walnois. There it is. Okay, so we have a solid front on the left in Foxtrot. We're pushing up through Charlie toward Golf. We have a nice Anglo-fire in on his reinforcements that he hasn't realized yet, and that's going to cost him very dearly as he loses another unit of Legion. That's 3 whole groups right there. Very expensive mistake. And here I think is where he finally notices, because he does disembark the chasseurs and sort of move them forward, but I see that, and I reverse the AMX 10 in order to prevent the chasseurs from getting in range with their L-racks. Although shorter range than I had thought, and I'm moving up Rima through the field. Now the reason for that was to get the Super Intendant on board and see that tank and kill it, because ATGM planes cannot kill what they cannot see. We do have bombers coming in as well. They're a little bit superfluous, and a bomber of my opponent's moving in as well, but fortunately for me, not quite accurate. We do lose the AMX-10 RC, and I'm now just sort of trying to push into Golf even harder. We are taking out a +5 of all things, and I get another unit, another tank online to target that reinforcement line. We probably preyed on over 300 points worth of reinforcements at this point, just off of this good position, which I highly do recommend that if you can get up this far. It's very hard for the opponent to defend. You'd have to set up something in these towns, you'd have to sort of push through on this flank, which is hard to do, because the reinforcements will start coming in here, you have to turn them around, and you're dealing with the edge of the map shenanigans, which is never a fun time either. Now he has moved a tank up into this position, and that will sort of shut me down for a little bit. So we take a look farther out. I have Legion 90, I have a Crotal coming up here, we have an AMX 10 that's sort of, well, scout through it'll die and I'll know something's there. And here we bring in the bombers to handle my opponent's counter push. Kill the Brennus, kill the AMX with Super Intendant, and we have the regular bombers. 1 unit of infantry down, the other 2 didn't fire, unfortunately. VBL Mistral does punish my scout helicopter, but at this point the whole fight's going on here, which is wonderful for me because I'm taking out a +5, and my opponent really can't do all that much about it. There's Mirage 5F that does come in, and, well, this is rather unfortunate, although highly entertaining to see anyway. One of them does survive with a single point of health, and immediately makes his value back, because the RC is 40 points and the Mistral 55. Rima moving up, and this is just, it's me being a little bit of a jerk, I suppose. I was hunting for his last command infantry in this section. He does see that and move them, but that moves the ticking war score up to +6, which is a difference he can't afford, especially when I'm bringing in my own counter-capping command infantry. At this point the game was pretty much over. If we take a look at the broader field, we've made up for our initial lack of presence and gotten very cost-effective trades farther out. So that is going to be the game, and that's all we've got for today. A nice friendly game, French mirror match, and one very irritated, very good friend of mine. So thank you all for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.